Welcome to Your Biz, Your Rules, the podcast for business-minded go-getters hosted by me, your favourite brain and biz coach, Daire Paddy. This is the spot for those of you ready to blend heart and head, woo and do, income and impact, change and chill, and so much more. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. Welcome to episode 228 of Your Biz, Your Rules. Now, this show is very much needed on earth as it is today because it is all about how to stay calm, how to keep moving forwards in your business, in your life, when the world seems to be in absolute destructive, chilling chaos. So, this week, I want to talk about how to respond when the world seems to be losing its collective mind. I don't think you can spend any time on social media at the moment without thinking, what the hell is actually going on? I know that I can't. I know that whenever I have been scrolling like on Facebook recently, everything I see, I'm just like, no, this cannot be real. Like, what is going on? Why is this the world we live in? And while what I'm going to be talking about today was inspired by current events on a more global scale, I want you to know that the ideas, the principles that I'm sharing are also things that you can use to help you stay calm and grounded when your personal life feels like it's in chaos. So if you have to deal with any like specific dramas or issues in your own world on like a micro level, these tips will still help you do that. But the examples I'm probably going to be using are more like, current events based, just because that's what I've had front of mind recently. So way back when, at the beginning of the first lockdown, in fact, I ran this workshop called Cut the Crap, Chaos and Confusion, where I was essentially sharing a handful of strategies for dealing with a world gone mad. I'm sure you can all recall that right at the beginning of the pandemonium, things were messy. Messy, messy, messy. Every angle that you looked, mess, and more mess. And so I ran this workshop where I was just sharing a handful of really practical things that people could do to just stay steady, to stay grounded. And I'm not going to be repeating what I shared in that workshop. So if you do want to check it out and sort of pick up on those strategies and participate in the hypnosis that comes with it, then I'll pop a link to that below. It also comes as part of a bundle actually, so you would also get access to my training on how to create a new income stream when you're very overwhelmed by what's going on in the world, and also how to pivot your content so that you're being sensitive, you're being conscious, but still making the moves you need to make in your business. So like that whole bundle is actually available for just like £70. So it's a no-brainer. I'll pop the link, like I said, below, so you can go and sign up if you choose to. But anyway, what I'm going to be talking about today are a few different tips to help you just feel a lot more calm and a lot more centered when it comes to dealing with a wild world, because things happen all the time. Like if it's not like shocking politics, it's, I don't know, wars fairly close to home, it's shootings in public places, it's like abuses on a global scale. It's like there's just one thing after another, and when you identify as highly sensitive or empathic, it can just feel like a lot, and it can feel also like you don't have the right to feel a certain way, and that as well can create additional challenges. And so today what I'm going to be talking about is how to navigate all of this when you are that sensitive person, because I know a lot of you are. I know that is the kind of person that I often attract. So hopefully you will walk away with some very practical tips and ideas today that can just help you feel a little bit better when the world is going to hell in a handbasket. So all that to say, let's get started. So how do you stay calm when the world is in chaos? It can be hard, like I said, especially if you identify as empathic or highly sensitive. It can feel like you're absorbing so much, not just from events that are taking place, but then from all of the responses to those events that you see. So all of the comment threads that you come across, all of the posts you read, all of the Instagram stories that you watch, it can just feel like you're being bombarded from every angle. So my first tip for you is going to be one that probably seems very obvious, but switch off from the consumption, switch off from the news, switch off from social media. It is not always your job to stay informed. If there is specific information that you want to seek out, Google it. Because then at least you are in control of how you interact with information. It's not just coming at you with no filter. And that's not to say you have to step back from all media forever, just for as long as you need to, just for as long as it takes you to start feeling a little bit more settled, a little bit more grounded, just a little bit more in control of your own emotions. Because it's so easy to get completely flattened by what's going on in the world. And if you have any history of suffering from anxiety or depression or anything like that, it can really have a massive impact that lasts a long time. So you've got to be really mindful about these things. And, you know, when I've shared in the past that this is something that I do, whenever something big kicks off in the world, I've had like at least one person say, oh, well, like, what a privilege to be able to shut off from this. And do you know what? Yes, it is a privilege, and it is a privilege that I'm going to take full advantage of. Because here is the thing. Your mental and emotional health has to come first. Because if you're not taken care of, you can't take care of your business, you can't take care of your home, you can't take care of your pets, your family. You can't even hope to have an effect on the world at large. You can't support your community, you can't make a change, you can't be an activist. If you are completely depleted and completely flattened and just feeling so down about what's going on in the world, how can you possibly have what it takes to put yourself out there and make a change? You just can't. So if you need to take your time, if you need to detach for a while and just take care of yourself, you can do that without guilt. Along similar lines, I want to encourage you to really commit to the practices that make you feel safe and you feel grounded. Because one of the reasons that we can have such an intense reaction to world events is because on some level, they trigger our safety sirens. So there's something about them that makes us feel like we are, you know, going to end up in a situation where we're not feeling safe, we're not feeling secure, like our very survival is in jeopardy. And it can often feel like that. It really can. And like sometimes when you see things, it can just be like, oh God, if it can happen to them, it can definitely happen to me. And sometimes it can be more like a doom spirally thing. It doesn't really matter. But what often happens is it's in our body, this feeling of either I'm not safe or it's possible that I'm going to not be safe in the future. And even if we're not consciously aware that that is what is going on for us, it's in our being, it's in our physical body. So committing to practices that just make you feel like calm and grounded and steady and still will really see you well. And this will look a little bit differently for everybody because we all have different preferences, we all have different tastes, we all have different habits. I'll share what I do and you can feel free to swipe those if you want, but there is no right or wrong way to feel more grounded. Something that I do is tapping. Like tapping really helps me calm my nervous system. So I will use an EFT script that I create myself, or I'll find one on YouTube and I will just tap to like calm my nervous system down. Morning pages has the same effect for me. So every morning just writing 3 pages longhand in a journal, because it allows me to sort of talk myself out of I don't know, like the nervous energy. So if I feel tense, if I feel overwhelmed, I can sort of talk myself out of that via journaling. And if those two aren't doing it, if there's something even more intense going on, then I listen to my hypnosis that I created. So I've created a hypnosis for grounding and inner strength, which is just available for free on my YouTube channel. So I will share a link to that with you so you can go and check it out if like you like to listen to audios to alter your current state. So like I said, those are a few of the things that I personally do to like ground myself, to make myself feel more connected to my own body and safer in my own skin. But this could look like 101 different things. Maybe it's breath work for you, maybe it's going outside for a walk, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's working out, maybe it's talking to somebody. There are so many different ways to start feeling more safe and more grounded in your body, and just go with the one that feels right for you. And remember that you get to experiment, you get to switch things up, you get to try things before you settle on a particular tactic. Now we need to talk about speaking up. There's always a pressure to speak up when something big happens, when something dire happens. So many people seem to think that it is all of our jobs to use our platforms to have an opinion, to broadcast. You don't have to be bullied into putting on a performance. Speak when you want to, speak when you have something to say. And yes, you might deal with some peer pressure, but you know what? We're grown-ass adults. And we're not just grown-ass adults, we are business people. We have a mission. We have the strength and the fortitude to ignore idiots who are trying to impose their thoughts on us. Like, we have that capacity. So don't be bullied into taking performative action, because at the end of the day, that helps nobody anyway. It's so much more effective for you to like slowly and intentionally talk about a topic that is meaningful to you and take small actions to create change on a larger scale than it is to temporarily jump on a particular bandwagon or a particular fight just because it's trendy, just because it's in the news. If you don't have something concrete to say, that's okay. You are under no obligation to articulate what you think or what you feel in line with the news cycle or in line with somebody else's timeline. Like, that is a weird social media phenomenon that we just need to let go of now, because it is helping nobody. And if you do want to contribute to a particular conversation, but you just don't know what you can add, then use that intention, use that energy to share people's voices, share other people's content, share other people's resources. If these people are experts, or if these people have wise things to say or helpful resources that will support a cause, share those, amplify those resources instead of just trying to cobble together an opinion of your own. And then I also want you to remember, and this is a big one here, and this one definitely applies to the whole like world events and personal events one, but remember that your problems still get to feel like problems. Don't be tempted to gaslight yourself into thinking what you are currently going through is no big deal. We are not competing in the trauma Olympics here. If you have something that you are struggling with, it is no less valid than something like big and dire and dramatic happening on a global scale. You are still a person, you still get to feel your feelings, and you still get to feel how you feel about the situations taking place in your own life. So it is not selfish, it is not unnecessary, it is not childish, it is not superficial to want to take care of yourself first. In fact, it's very necessary. You're not in competition with somebody else's struggle. So don't be tempted to dismiss what you're going through. And you know what? We all do it. I know that I have on many occasions. Even last week when I went live in my Facebook group to talk about the struggles with my mental health that I'd been dealing with, I remember saying, oh, but I don't want to call it depression because it wasn't as bad as blah, 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 blah. And when you find yourself doing that to your own struggles, when you find yourself saying like, oh, it's not as bad as this, it's not as bad as what they're going through, you're dismissing your very real needs. And that certainly is something that needs to stop. So, you know, give yourself the time that you need. Give yourself the support that you need, whatever that looks like. You are still worth taking care of, even when terrible things are happening in the world, even when every nation seems to have gone absolutely bonkers. You as a human are still worth taking care of, and don't forget that. So to that end, this week I've actually decided to open up 5 breakthrough sessions. Let me say that again. To that end, this week I've decided to open up space for 5 free breakthrough sessions. So like I said, I'm offering these up for free. It's an hour's coaching, no strings attached, to just talk with me about what's going on with you, maybe come up with a bit of a plan, maybe play around with some strategy, maybe release what's been going on for you. Whatever it is you need, you can use these sessions for. And like I said, totally free, an hour together, no strings attached. So I'll pop a link to that with this replay, but it's just dairepaddy.com/breakthrough. Okay, so if you want one of those, just sign yourself up, book yourself in now. You've got nothing to lose. Hopefully you've had some ideas here how to navigate these tumultuous times, because it really does feel like every other week there is something else to feel heartbroken about or to feel enraged about, and that can feel like a lot, especially when you are trying to grow a business as well and you have like very real, just everyday worries to navigate. It can just feel like you're being pulled in every direction, and it can feel like you're doing something wrong to still want to build your business and to still want to make sales when things are so bad for other people in the world. And that's why I wanted to talk about this topic today, because there is nothing wrong with you for wanting to take care of yourself and take care of your business, even when things are terrible in other parts of the world or on your doorstep. Hopefully you've had a bit of inspiration, you've had a few ideas of how you can just take a little bit better care of your own mental and emotional health this week and every week. Thank you for listening to Your Biz, Your Rules. I know that we all like to listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles or books or posts on Facebook and not really do anything with that information. So I want to challenge you right now. I want to challenge you to take something from this episode, anything, and use it to spark action. Use it to activate some kind of change in the way you work and the way you live. Do yourself this service today and tell me all about it on Instagram. Hop over, shoot me a DM or share an Instagram story showcasing what action you are taking thanks to this episode. And of course, do all of the usual things. Subscribe, leave a review, let me know how much you love the show, and I'll be back with you next week.